competitors and will keep innovating?
Again, I actually don't know. So I guess you guys hear that a lot, which is a little bit, I think that my suggestion to the developers that develop BNB Chain is let's try to improve scalability. That's the main thing. Well, that's the main thing from me, main request from me, but they may or may not listen to me. I think we also got to give them freedom to, it's their problem, it's their job, it's their baby. They should want to find ways to innovate. I can't think of innovations for them. But my philosophy has always, personally, I've always been more involved in how to bring a technology to the mass. So less so much on the academic research prototyping side, where, for example, a few guys are very good at it. I think the clearest example is probably Andrew Cronje. He likes to prototype. I don't like to do that. I like to take a technology that's proven to work and figure out how to scale it, how to let 100 million people use it, how to let 1 billion people use it, how to make it highly efficient. So it's those speed, performance, and improvements, scalability, which many people don't think are innovation, but I think those are very tough innovations. It's very difficult to go from idea at a small scale to billions of people at scale. So that's what I typically like to focus on. And this is what I encourage, and this is what we like to invest in, and this is what we like to fund and sponsor. So those are the things that we can help. But exactly what they're doing, they talk about so much different stuff. They talk about dark pools, privacy, faster DEXs, layer 2s, interoperability, other stable coin. There's so many things to talk about. I can't even keep track of it. So I'm not that hands-on involved. I try to promote it as much as I can, but that's my job. But I'm not really in charge of the development direction or anything like that.
Yeah, BNB Chain belongs to the community, and bring to more communities just need to keep on innovating scalability, improving user experience, and educating the masses.
Absolutely, yeah.
Thank you, Suzy. And we have our final question. How many selfies do you think you've taken in your life?
I'm actually not sure. Definitely 4 digits. I'm not sure if it's close to 5 digits yet. So talking about selfies, I think we'll set up an area for people who want to take selfies in turn. We have a very efficient process at this now. Our team's very good at this. You form a line, give your phone to the guy, and he'll take it. It's a very efficient, very fast process. We'll get through a couple hundred people in half an hour. So we don't need to rush. Selfie is the easy part. The harder part is when people try to pitch projects to me in a setting like this. It doesn't work. I won't be able to understand your project. I may not even be able to remember it. So please, no project pitches. Talk to our investment team. They'll sit down, take the time to understand it. Whereas I can't understand a project just based on a couple minutes of conversation. It just doesn't work. But happy to talk to anybody who wants to work for Binance. Skill sets, what do you do, what are you passionate about, what are you good at? So those conversations, I focus on hiring. I don't look at projects myself. It just takes too much time. Looking at a project takes like at least 5 days, if not a few months. I don't have time to follow that to follow too many projects.
Definitely, this is great, AMA. Thank you, Suzy, for your insight and answers.
All right, thank you, guys. Yeah.
Hi, Suzy. How are you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Is it working?
I think it's on now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Pretty good, pretty good. Yeah. Wow. What a crowd. Yeah. Thanks for coming.
So I'm sure I speak for everyone when I say it's a real honor having you here answering questions directly from our community. So along with submissions from the audience here in Paris, we're also taking questions from our viewers on YouTube and our Twitter followers. Okay, let's get started with our first question. The first one is actually about how Binance is celebrating its 5th anniversary with users.
Well, I mean, thank you guys for coming. We're celebrating together with yourselves. I think, yeah, the crowd is, I think the middle crowd already stood up, so I don't know if the back crowd can see us now. But I'm really honored to be here and really honored that you guys are here. Yeah, so it's really moving for me to see, you know, from 5 years ago till now, the progress we've made, and with your support. All the Binance Angels are here. I think let's give them a round of applause for the Binance Angels. Yeah, I mean, I actually don't exactly know what the program for today is. I just go where my calendar tells me to go. But I think this is a fantastic occasion. I will be around. We'll take photos, drink a bit. Yeah, we'll just chill out.
Yeah, I mean, people love you, especially when you're so close with them on Twitter and everywhere. It's really great to see that you're very close with our community members.
Yeah, I was just tweeting about the zero fee thing, but it's okay. That's under control, I think.
Okay, next we have a question from Lexi Skins from Twitter. What other features should we expect on Binance Exchange in the next couple of months?
Actually, again, I don't know the answer to that question, to be very honest. Binance team is about 6,000 people now. They all do different things, and when the feature's ready, we ship. So it's a very decentralized. We don't plan big announcements on specific days. So whenever something's ready, we ship it. We have so many different products in our ecosystem. I don't know exactly what's coming up. But some of the things we do try to do in this we're kind of in a bear market now. In this type of markets, we try to make sure that we have the most reliable, most ethical, most fair, and most liquid platform. So been stressing to our teams that we want to make sure that our platform is stable as a rock. So that's one of the top priorities for us right now. But there's still many innovations going on. I don't know all of them.
Yeah, and we can get very well prepared for the next bull run, right?
Yes, I think right now our plan is very simple. Our strategy is very simple. Everybody can know it. We're just going to keep our head down, build for the next 18, 20 months, or however long it takes. Markets go in cycles. We want to be ready for the next wave.
Just keep on building.
Just keep on building, yeah.
Great.
Thank you.
Next question from Shiraz Shaukat 13, Twitter. What difficulties did you face in developing Binance over the past 5 years, and how did you overcome them?
Well, that's what difficulty didn't we face in the last 5 years? So I think we're in a new industry. It's a technology field that develops really fast. It also has a financial aspect to it. So I think over the last 5 years, when we first started, not many regulators were looking at this industry. In the last couple of years, almost all of them are. But luckily also, we've been very lucky to see tremendous user growth in the industry. People understand this is a new technology for money. And if you're left behind on this if you're left behind from the internet, you're just not in touch with your friends a world away. And people understand that if you're left behind in this industry, you're pretty far from the money, which has some really interesting impacts. So yeah, I think dealing with fast growth, making sure the systems are stable, security, dealing with growing with the changing regulations, but most importantly, just organizing our internal team, growing at that phenomenal speed. There's a lot of challenges. So there's so many challenges. I don't think there's anyone that we didn't encounter. Luckily, I think we have a great team. We have great community support, and I think we've done okay so far. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Next one.
Thank you.
Next one from MetaPax.io. Which Web3 technologies do you consider important to develop first, and which would you like to see in the future?
I think that the industry is much broader now. So there's multiple fronts that we got to develop. On the centralized exchanges, we got to make sure that we continue to be able to handle the large volume of people coming in, and we continue to ensure that the system is secure, stable. In the decentralized world, I think the DeFi innovations are great, and but the wallets, most for average, what we call normal people, most people are not able to hold their own coins securely. Yeah. So they don't know how to do backups. They don't know how to do inheritance. If one day, we most likely eventually will not be here. So all of those things are not taken care of. Even simple things like how do you prevent your computer having a virus and not losing your coins. So I think all of those things are important. And the new frontiers like NFTs, metaverse, how do we grow those? So I think it's great that in the decentralized ecosystem, everybody's working on something different, and yeah, it just progresses in a very decentralized manner. And we just want to be as supportive as we can from a platform point of view. So we want to support any initiative in this industry, including ones that compete with us. Even in the other exchanges, we have a lot of different products, so there will always be some overlap. But we want to support everybody.
Yeah, and support on different levels, as you said. Okay, thank you. Can you hear me? Okay. And support on different levels, as you said, because some of the... sorry guys, can I ask you just to sit down, please? Just those who are standing, please, can you sit down? Can you just go and take a seat? Which one is vacant?
Or we can stand up. I think the guys can't see us.
It's going to be a long session. Really. Thank you.
Do you want to try standing up?
Sorry?
Do you want to try standing up?
No.
Really? We can stand up and they can see us better.
I think it's fine because they have the screens over there so they can see us. It's all good. I mean, people want to be close to you. It is good.
All right, yeah, we can continue.
Yeah, okay, just to sum up your last answer, basically we want to support development of any type of the ecosystem, and we start from the education, as you said, because many of the users, they don't want to hold their keys, or they don't understand why they need to have a hold of their own keys, and we're just there to support them to grow into that innovation. Next question from Mr. Wang, 28. Any plan for Binance to support some CeFi companies which are facing significant difficulties?
Yes, so we absolutely want to do that. In fact, our team's very busy looking at a large number of deals. The word bailout has many different meanings to different people. It has some negative connotations, some positive connotations. Fundamentally, just think about investing in projects. And today, now is one of the best time to invest in projects. So any project that's short on money, as long as the product is good, the team is good, all the fundamentals are good. If they're just short on money, why not? And now is the best time to invest. But it doesn't mean that we will invest in every single project on the planet. That's never how things work. So we're still selective about good projects. So today, I think now we actually heavily encourage the good projects who are short on money, who are short on funds. Raise your hand, come talk to us. But we doesn't guarantee that we will invest in every project, but the good projects will continue to invest. And this is the best time to invest because now the valuations are much more reasonable. Before any ICO, a year ago, every ICO project is valued at $50 million with no products, no team, not even a line of code. That doesn't work. But today we're seeing things are much more reasonable.
Probably this one. Yeah, totally agree. Again, this time is for builders, so we're investing in builders. Can I show BNB so they can buy BNB now?
I don't give advice like that. I will get in trouble if I do. So do your own research. Do manage your own risks. Do not FOMO. Do not. You gotta work with yourself. Don't get into greed, fear. Both two emotions are very common in trading. So and also manage your risk. The way I always tell people, the way I think about risk is a risk is a very individual thing. Somebody else doing something that you think is risky may not be risky for them. And so the way I usually explain risk is for your investments, if everything went to zero, will your lifestyle still be okay? If the answer is no, then you have invested too much, reduce the portions. If the answer is yes, your life will be fine, then it's probably okay. So use your own judgment.
Yeah, brilliant. Always important to remind.
Yes, and to be honest, my experience, the more you tell people to manage their risk, the more they actually, they will hopefully act reasonably, but they actually, almost never deter them, their willingness to invest or etc. Yeah.
Great, thank you. Next from Loretta Crypto. How does a project qualify for listing on Binance? I think you even wrote an article about this on Binance blog, but maybe you can just share a bit more.
Sorry, what was the question?
How does a project qualify for listing on Binance?
Yeah, there's a blog post that's like 5 years old now. It's very simple. At a very high level, the number one criteria is number of users. If your project have a large number of users, then you have created something valuable. So this is a utility value. If something is used by somebody, then it has a value. If that somebody is a large number of somebody, then you have good liquidity and you have a large value. So number of users is the main thing we look at. If you don't have users, then it gets quite a bit harder. Then we sometimes do look at project team background, product concepts, or even just the product itself. But all of those things are much lower chance. 90-something% of the weight is on just number of users.
Thank you. Clear and to the point. Next is from Luis Martirossi. How long do you think it will take for crypto to be fully regulated globally?
I think it's a black and white question. In real life, adoption goes very slowly, and then it ramps up, and then it slows down, and then it decays. So this happens for any company, any technology. If we think about internet, right now we're still kind of at this level. I think it will take many decades for it to decay. Something new may replace it. If we think about physical letters, it took a couple hundred years. So I think today we're still at the early adoption phase. And the early adoption phase is slow. But I think we're kind of crossing somewhere between 1% to 3% adoption. Once you reach 1%, that's but adoption grows exponentially. For something that grows exponentially, 1% is usually the half mark. So there's a very famous project called the Human Genome Project, where they analyze human genome using computer CPUs. They said the project will take 15 years to finish. By the 7th year, they were at 1%. And they said that's right on track, because computational power doubles every year. And then 1%, double, 2%, 4%, 8%, 16%, 32%, 64%, it's done, 7 years. So by the 14th year, they were done. So I think we're at the 1% adoption rate. So when will you get to, but once it gets to like 50, 60, 80% adoption, it will slow down again. Because the older generation, my mom's generation, they may or may not use this technology to the full. So we'll then have to wait for 20 years for the young 14-year-olds to become 35-year-olds, etc. So I think it's going to be a couple of decades for full adoption, but we're going to see some really ramping up in the short term for what people call crossing the chasm. From the early adopters to sort of slightly mainstream, we'll see the peak up. So hopefully that will happen. I'm not sure if I'm correct at all. I could be completely off. So, but that's kind of what I'm expecting.
So do you think if we get this 60-70% adoption, will we still be alive? Or it's going to be a decade for other generation?
Oh, I think we can reach, I think we will reach 40, 50, 60% adoption probably within 5 to 10 years. So we'll definitely see it. And then it will slow down a bit, but then you will be everywhere. So, I mean, the internet today is probably only 80% adoption. There are many populations in the world who doesn't use internet. I mean, everybody in this room does. But my mom doesn't use the internet that well. Yeah.
Thank you. Next is from Decrypt 39 27 19. How can you ensure platform stability during this bear market?
So that's a very broad question. There's so many different aspects for stability. I think number one, people think about system stability, networks, servers. Those are technology related. We have some of the best scientists, technologists on our teams now. And we hire the best talent, the most senior talent from the traditional internet worlds, including companies like Google, Facebook, Apple, Tencent, Alibaba, etc. And those are the two really countries, China and US, that have large internet applications. So they have applications that have billions of users, so they have this knowledge. But our application is actually more demanding than even Google and Facebook or Twitter. If you post a tweet and you don't see it for 30 seconds, you're okay. But if you post an order to buy and you don't see it in 3 seconds, the market moved, you will complain. And we have 100 million, 120 million users from every part of the world. We have users in Africa, Latin America, here in Europe, in Asia. They all need to go into the single matching engine because the previous order changes the price for the next order. And so we have to ensure global liquidity. This is a very challenging problem, but we got the smartest guys on the planet working on this now in Binance. Luckily, also our business is stronger than the traditional Web 2 businesses. So the Web 2 businesses per user revenue is lower than us. Per employee revenue is lower than us. So we can afford to hire their best people and to work for us. So we have some of the best minds working on the technology part. They can talk about the technology all day long. I'm no longer even fluent in the terms they use. They use different terms that I can't even repeat. And then there's the business side, ensuring that there's sufficient liquidity, making sure that we list coins that have high liquidity. So making sure that the different products with margin, leverages, etc. All of those needs to be managed. Again, we have very good specialists managing those. And the other thing is just always be transparent. Always look at issues. As soon as issues come up, we address it. Just be out there, be transparent, be responsive. So and also having a large user base like yourselves really helps with stability. Because the larger platforms do have the better liquidity, and where smaller platforms will fluctuate more with a large user base, we have much less of those problems. So so that's an advantage for a large platform. And lastly, an advantage for large platforms, we spend a lot more. We have the economy of scale. So we spend hundreds of millions of dollars on security each year alone. Smaller platforms just don't have the capability to do that. So, and now with a large platform, we have many users auditing us. Our code wallets are relatively transparent. If anybody follows a few deposits, you'll find our code wallet. So our reserves are there. We don't do fractional reserves. We don't do lending. We don't do a lot of lending to other people. We do not owe other people money. We're pretty stable. So we're pretty stable.
Yeah, that's great. And yeah, team in Binance is massive.
Actually, lastly, I would add the personality and culture matters too. So I do think I have a relatively stable personality. And also our team, we have very stable personalities. So we don't chase crazy stuff. We're very stable.
True. Next question is from Jamie Barker. Blockchain already has a wide range of use cases. Is there anything else you think blockchain could be used for in the future?
Yeah, I think obviously anything that has to do with a record, especially a record that requires authenticity, validation, trust, can be used. So there's many different applications from notaries, land titles, digital IDs. All of everything that requires a trusted record can be used. But today, the blockchain, the first application we're dealing with is really just money. This is the first application, and this is already a huge application. This application is much bigger than the internet. The internet deals with information. The internet is really just a new technology to transfer information. That's all it is. The blockchain is a technology to transfer value, and this will have much bigger impact than the internet. So there's so many things to be done. We're just at the very, very beginning. But even the very beginning, the first application is huge. I don't see any other industry growing faster than this one.
Yeah, blockchain technology will never cease to amaze us. We have next section with live questions from the audience here. So Suzy, what's Binance's plan for the next 5 years?
I actually don't really know. My job is not to plan. My job is not to strategize. I don't come up with product ideas. I don't really drive things. It doesn't scale. I cannot do parallel tasking that much. So my job is really just to build a team. So get the best people on the team, making sure we have the right structure. The right structure might not be a rigid structure, but it's a combination of giving people freedom, giving people responsibility, hold them accountable, and making sure that we get the best people in the first place, and then let them do their job. So let them design products they want to design. I don't believe in top-down driven design anymore. That may have worked in like, I don't know, 10, 20 years ago in traditional industries where each company only have 1 or 2 products. But today, if we look at Google has so many products. I talked to some of the very senior guys in Google, learned many of their lessons, and they just encourage innovation. Google has a 20% time projects. You can do whatever you want to do, and they came up with so much innovation. And we want to kind of follow that same model for Binance. Innovation comes from bottom up, not from top down. So we have many teams working on many different products, and some of them overlap, some of them compete, some of them collaborate. We just want to make sure that we have the right structure to promote that innovation, both on the sort of centralized. We have a large part of our business is centralized, so that's on the centralized exchange. And then also we have a large part of our ecosystem that's decentralized, and we contribute to that, and we want to support developers, projects there too. So it's just finding the balance in those structures and provide the maximum support that we can. So I don't worry about what kind of innovations we do. I just worry about getting the smartest people into the ecosystem, making sure that they have all the right resources, money, support to do what they want to do.
Supporting ecosystem that comes from bottom to up, and just hiring the best people.
Pretty much. I mean, if you get the best people onto the team, they will do it. I mean, like if you hold them back and don't allow them to do it, they get pissed off and they leave. So when you get strong people.
Binance CEO sues Bloomberg newspaper in Hong Kong for using offensive language. Binance CEO Changpeng Zhao is suing one of the world's most popular newspapers, Bloomberg Businessweek, for allegedly smearing his honor with an article published in early July 2022 through the Chinese version of the publication. Was released in Hong Kong. But in Hong Kong, Bloomberg's local publisher Modern Media CL ran another headline to incite hate and mockery against the Binance CEO. Changpeng Zhao's Ponzi scheme. Therefore, the CEO of Binance is seeking damages because the Chinese edition of Bloomberg Businessweek wrote in print and online the article with the title just mentioned. In addition, he is also suing the publisher for using the phrase twice more in his Twitter and Facebook posts respectively to promote his personal biography. The Binance representative said that this case is a personal lawsuit by the CEO of Binance that is not related to the exchange. But that's not all. According to a legal memorandum filed in New York on July 22 regarding the Hong Kong incident, the Binance CEO's legal advisor also alleged that the original English version of the article also contained statements libel. The New York documents state that the original article containing a number of serious allegations and inappropriate wording made against Mr. Changpeng Zhao and Binance is completely baseless and was clearly written to mislead the reader. Believes that both the CEO of Binance and the exchange have engaged in illegal or unprofitable activities for users. This is not the first time the Binance CEO has sued a media outlet for such a reason. Back in 2020, he filed a lawsuit against Forbes in the US against 2 reporters for a Forbes article alleging that Binance had a complex company structure built to intentionally mislead regulators and surreptitiously earn money, benefit from crypto investors in the United States. However, the Binance CEO later dropped the lawsuit. Interestingly, until February 2022, Binance seems to have not wanted this incident to be repeated as in the past by making peace with Forbes and investing up to $200 million in the company. However, despite the backing of Binance, Forbes magazine partnered with FTX to issue NFT on Ethereum.